Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, your mayor, Dana Routh.
It's a pretty fun video, isn't it? Yeah. Before we begin tonight, I want to take a moment to reaffirm that our community is united in supporting and loving our Ukrainian neighbors, right? We know that this is a very difficult time, and it's important that we stand with them as they stand with their friends and family, fighting the good fight and doing the right thing for their democracy. Okay. I also want to say thank you to our honor guard, as well as our amazing performer, Gifty Imbala from KM, singing the national anthem, which was pretty amazing. Welcome to my 5th annual State of the City. I am so glad that you are all here tonight as we talk about some of the things that we've been doing in the past and what is amazing and bright in our future. My great-grandparents were from Kent, and 4 generations later, I am proud that my family and I can still call Kent home. It is such an honor and privilege to serve this community as your mayor, and I am so grateful every single day for the opportunity to move Kent forward, and I'm excited for our future. And we're facing real challenges, just like all of our neighbors, the region, the country, and people across the world. But we also have incredible opportunities here in Kent, and we have the tenacity to realize that potential. That's something that Kent residents have been doing for generations. We have a very rich history in Kent. Little known fact, we're the oldest incorporated city in King County, second only to Seattle. So we've been around a really long time. From the ancestral home of the Muckleshoot and Duwamish people to a small farming town named Titusville, where settlers found fertile ground, some of the best soil in probably the entire country, to grow their crops and trade. From the hops capital of the world to the lettuce capital of the world, and now the fourth largest manufacturing and distribution center in the nation. We are the center of innovation where cutting-edge companies from around the world come together to put the first humans on the moon. I'm not sure if that was Council President Boyce shouting out for Boeing, but we saw a picture of that. Kent's come a long way. You know, I will tell you, it's pretty nostalgic being back here at KM, and I couldn't think of a better place to spend the evening talking about our past, our present, and our future. Go Royals, absolutely. This high school is both a blast from the past, and it's also a window into the future. This is Kent's oldest high school. Councilmember Thomas, we've talked about, do we say Kent and Meridian joined to be Kent Meridian, but there's the fact. It's the oldest existing high school in the city of Kent. And there's a lot of us in this room that have made some pretty amazing memories in this hallway. I think about, as I've grown up here in the city of Kent, I've also watched our city grow up. Kent is a rapidly urbanizing city. With major population growth, expanding cultural diversity, and a roaring economy, we still have that great hometown feel. That when you go to the store, you run into somebody, if you take a minute to talk to them, they probably know somebody that you know. That happens every day here in Kent. Generations of families built the Kent of today, and we're all their legacy. And our kids are our legacy. It's pretty powerful when you think about it that way. Every generation has their big challenges and achievements. For us, pretty sure we can all agree that COVID-19 threw a wrench in all of the great plans that we had. But I'm really proud of how our community came through this, came together to confront that challenge. From the very beginning, we took the pandemic seriously, and we took swift action to support the Kent community. From distributing almost $6 million in CARES Act funding to keep our small business moving ahead, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in community development block grants to nonprofits, to giving away thousands of fun Kent-themed masks. I love going to the grocery store and seeing the "We Are Kent, Don't Mess with Kent," the orange Jeep, all of those fun things on those masks. The Lunar Rover, I think that was probably the most popular one, second only to the Chicken Nuggets mask. We suspended shutoff of utilities to keep our community, and we kept our community informed. We met the moment. I am so proud of and grateful for the resiliency of our city employees and our residents. We all pivoted on a dime. Remember waking up that day and it's like, everybody stay home. We've got to stay safe. We've got to keep each other safe. But the world didn't stop moving. We still needed to do all the things that a city does for its residents. I know it hasn't been easy, but the city of Kent is committed to a full recovery from the impacts of COVID-19. As we transition out of the pandemic, we have so much on the horizon to look forward to, and I cannot wait to share it with you tonight. Great things are happening here in Kent, and the problems we face and overcome are a part of making progress. Growing pains, progress is painful, all of those things, but you know what? Without that, we wouldn't move on to the next phase and continue to grow. I want all of you to know that your city leadership and our over 700 employees at the City of Kent are up to the task of keeping us all on track. And we're so grateful to the many incredible organizations that are dedicated to our community and the way that we demonstrate what We Are Kent really means. I'm going to recognize a few of these organizations tonight. This is the first time ever. We're going to start making this a tradition at the State of the City. It's our past, present, and future, our legacy awards. And we're going to recognize the outstanding contributions of some of our community leaders and explain a little bit why they're not only leaders, but they're a continuous inspiration for all of us in this room. These awards represent how we're honoring our legacy, caring for our community now, and looking forward to a hopeful future. The first group I'd like to recognize, I see some of them sitting down here in the front row, is our Greater Kent Historical Society for their outstanding work cataloging the rich history that we have here in the city of Kent. I'd like to invite the entire board up to the stage and ask Board President Eileen Lamphere to say a few words. If you guys want to come on up, let's give them a round of applause. Nice. Come on over, guys. We've got a microphone here. So the Greater Kent Historical Society has taken the last couple of years in the pandemic when things were shut down to really take a look at their mission and their values and their goals and what they were doing to help keep our history alive, but also tell our story. If you think about the importance of story to community, I don't know what else binds us together like that history and telling that story. So with that, Eileen, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to go grab the certificate.
Thank you, Mayor Ralph, for this wonderful award, and thank you to the Kent community for supporting the Greater Kent Historical Society and Kent Museum, not only through the pandemic, but before then. Yes, we would like to tell all the stories of the city of Kent, not just the founders, but as Mayor Ralph mentioned, we have one of the most diverse communities, not only in the state, but in the nation. And we would love to tell everyone's story. Not just an artifact. I mean, everybody has stuff, right, in your house. But what's the story that goes with that? You know, this came from your great-grandmother who maybe came from Ukraine. You know, this is a picture of my great-grandfather who maybe immigrated from China. So those are some stories that we hope to continue telling you about. And if you have a calendar, you might want to mark on your calendar April 2nd. We are going to open up the Kent Museum for the first time in 2 years for our community open house. For you to come on down, just take your time, look at how we have reimagined telling the story about the city of Kent. I would be remiss if I did not introduce some people up here who have been my strong team. Dave Johnson, and Dave is, go Royals, Kent Meridian. Michael Johnson. Michael is our treasurer. He's an islander. He's Mercer Island, but he lives in the Mill Creek neighborhood, so we kind of take care of him. Wally, and Wally, some of you may know because he is now a Kent School Board director. Yay, Wally. And Linda Martinez. Linda has been a long-time Kent resident, and she has a house that's similar to the Brighter House. So Linda has been able to help us figure out what fits and what doesn't fit, and how might staging be more effective. So I want to thank my entire team, and thank you, Mayor Ralph.
All right, thank you. Everybody give them a big round of applause. Eileen, I want to present the Key to the City and the first ever Legacy Award.
Wow. Can I open
Thank you,
this?
Ken.
Because they might want to see what it looks like.
Got it?
Folks, it's a real key. We're going to have to see what doors it opens up.
If you
What
find out,
other
you let me
stories.
know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. There you go. I'm so proud of the work that the Historical Society has done. Thank you. Over the last couple of years, and I hope to see you all at that grand reopening event. So many fun facts and things about our history there at the Brighter House. All right, the second group I'm recognizing tonight is the present part of past, present, and future. And this organization or group has really risen to meet the challenges and address our community needs, especially during COVID. I know that cities around the region and the country started to come together to help their residents, but I don't know that it was done in any way that was quite as successful or heartfelt as what Kent Community Partners did during this. It's a Kent Community Partners, and Dave Mitchell is here tonight, and he can tell us a little bit about this. So Dave, if you want to head up here, some of the things I'll tell you, Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, all of our different organizations, individuals came together to meet the need for food security during the pandemic. Again, if you think about those early days, people had lost their jobs. They didn't know what the future held. Our kids weren't going to school, and there was huge need in our community. And we have so many special people that came together and they showed up every single day. Dave, I don't know, over 10 million pounds of food out of the back of Showware Center. I mean, 10 million pounds of food to our community. The lines were around the block. It was really incredible. And I am so very, very proud of the work that you all did, that we are presenting you with the present part of our Legacy Awards.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Yeah, on behalf of the Kent Community Partners, with over 50 diverse organizations and more than 1,000 volunteers, we thank the mayor and the city of Kent for this award. In 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, the Kent Community Foundation led the establishment of the Kent Community Partners, which grew to include over 50 organizations that were committed to work together across historical divides to serve people in need. One of our most significant accomplishments, as the mayor just referenced, was in regards to emergency food distribution. We had Rotarians volunteering alongside Kiwanians and Lions. Whoa,
Right?
that's diverse. We had people of different churches and faith groups serving alongside one another. There were young people serving with older people. The city of Kent, Kent Station, Showware, nonprofits, churches, and other faith communities and businesses all worked together. We are stronger together. We are Kent.
Oh, I love that.
It was a great joy to see our community work together, and it continues to be a joy. The Kent Community Partners continues to meet online each week to learn from one another and to address issues. It is my hope and prayer that this Legacy Award lives on as our community continues to set aside differences and work together to serve people in need and address challenges in our community. Thank you, Mayor Ralph. Thank you, City of Kent, on behalf of the Kent Community Partners.
Huge round of applause. I'm going to do it. Nice. Thank you, Dave. Kent Community Partners they've saved lives. I don't know how else to put it, and I could not be more grateful for the work that they have done through the last couple of years to make sure that our community was taken care of. All right, our final award tonight is our Future Award. And I talked a little bit about this place, KM, being our past, my past, but it's also the place where our brightest stars are shining for our future. I would like to invite the executive board to the stage to accept this award and ask the student body president, Don Lee, to come up and say a few words. You guys want to come on up?
Yes.
This group right here represents the best of the best. These are leaders here at KM and out in our community. The last couple of years for students, not gonna lie, I don't even know how difficult it had to be separated from your classmates, trying to switch to learning online and then coming back to school and not knowing what it's gonna be like, and masks and all of those things. And you guys still made the conscious decision to step up and lead your school, right? There's no time harder than to lead in a crisis, and you guys have done it. Right? And you made that choice. I am so extremely proud of the work that you guys are doing, the leaders that you are. I want to say thank you so much for being our very, very bright future.
Go Royals!
Go Royals!
First off, this is on.
It's
Okay,
on.
there.
You should be good.
First off, thank you so much, Mayor Ralph. It really is an honor to be here, and I think I speak for all of us when I say this is not how I thought I'd spend a Thursday night. Really. Joining me tonight is
Aiden Kim, ASB Vice President.
David Baca Silva, the ASB Treasurer.
Tandy Chirwa, ASB Secretary.
Scott Hanscom, ASB Student Life Director.
And I'm Don Lee. I'm a junior at Kent Meridian, and I happen to also be the president. Just a little bit about myself. I moved here from Vietnam when I was 7 years old. I've lived in Kent for over 10 years of my life, and I do not regret a single ounce of it.
I love that.
If you ask my elementary school teachers, I was a very, very shy boy. I barely spoke the language, had little to no social skills, and I had a terrible time making friends. Yet, Peter Lopez, Jasper Aries, Arjavius Roberson, Daniel Drake, Tyrell Cook, and many, many other people did not let this become an issue. The people that I've just mentioned set the precedent for what it's like to be a leader at KM. Whether it was your financial situation, your look, the way you ate, the way you talk, they didn't care. They welcomed you in with open arms, and they made you part of the family. As we stand here in the KM Pack Center, I can't help but thank these people. Frankly, they're the reason I'm here, the reason we're here. I have a firm belief that leaders are not born, but they're forged through fire, strengthened with steel, and tried with experience. I've seen many leaders come and go, but the one thing they leave behind is that torch. So tonight, I want to thank you, Mayor Ralph, for handing down your torch to us. We graciously, sorry, I'm just really excited right now. I'm sorry, I'm just really excited. I just want to say thank you, Mayor Ralph. It is such an honor to be here. And if I have any last closing words, is be a leader. That torch you're giving to people, it'll go on to future generations and the ones after that. Once again, thank you, Mayor Ralph.
Thank you. All right, we'll do a quick picture here.
Oh, yeah, sure. Come in.
All right, we'll give you your award here. You want that back in there? Okay, who's accepting? All right, Key to the City, Certificate of Appreciation, and the first ever Future Legacy Award.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks so much.
Hey, absolutely. Oh, see, this is why. Right, you guys, that's incredible. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing and being willing to accept that torch. I can tell you when I was here at CAM, I think there was a picture of me in jazz band from about 1 million years ago. I never expected to be standing up here as mayor. So you never know where your future is going to take you. Just walk through every single open door. There you go. And I also want to say thank you to the faculty and teachers here at CAM because you are the inspiration for our students and you are the group that is setting them on their path to being able to lead this city and lead this country. Yeah. All right, let's get into some updates about the progress we're making here at the City of Kent. I also want to say, I think I missed it in the first slide, thank you to all of the city council members, Council President Boyce and council members that are here, our other elected leaders from around the county. Thank you so much for coming and spending the evening with us. And most importantly, thank you, you all, residents of the City of Kent, to come here tonight and celebrate with us. So we've incorporated a few videos in this program tonight because we have an amazing multimedia team so that you can hear directly from some of the staff about important things that they're doing work on. We're going to start out with a short video from our Economic and Community Development Program Manager.
We are all about attracting businesses to Kent, retaining the businesses that are here, and helping ensure our workforce is up to the job. A lot of people don't know about the really great, innovative technologies that have been made and that are still being made here today. We really want to shine a light on the opportunity for great careers, not just jobs, but career paths here. Family wage jobs, great opportunities for kids looking to what they might want to be when they grow up. With all of the developments, whether they be industrial developments or residential developments. We also have plans in place to ensure that these homes, whether they be single family or multifamily or townhomes, also have great amenities. I love for people to be really proud to live here and work here, do business here, bring their businesses here. It's a great community, a focus on people as opposed to truck traffic. We want to make sure employees know they can go grab lunch somewhere, go grab coffee, or grab a beer after work.
All right. So we talk a lot about community development, and I get asked the question frequently from our residents, what does that exactly mean? On our end, that's our staff, people like Michelle, working with regional partners, whether they're government agencies, profits, or businesses, to help empower community with opportunity. It's all about strengthening relationships and working towards shared goals. It's about having those important conversations with people who live here about what they really want and what they need from the city they call home, right? That's what we do. Why we do what we do every day is that this is home to almost 138,000 people. A lot of the work involves the City of Kent playing a resourcing and coordinating role, bringing people and organizations together to identify the most effective ways to solve problems, leverage potential, and support our residents. In this last budget cycle, we allocated about $9 million from our American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, funding from the federal government towards economic development programs, helping our businesses and our community build resiliency as we exit the pandemic and look toward the future, right? We want to set people up for success going forward. We've partnered with small business development centers at Green River and Highline Colleges to provide technical support for our businesses, helping them open doors and access capital, other markets, design business plans, and access resources. We also worked with our community partner network to connect our small businesses with navigation services, helping them access resources like language assistance and marketing support. Our budget has also directed $2.75 million in ARPA funding to a community development business loan program. We're providing small businesses with low interest loans to help them scale and get the most out of their resources. So these are small businesses that might not have access to traditional capital, and making sure that we've got a way to set them on a path to success. We aren't only supporting our existing businesses, though. We're constantly looking for new ways to attract new businesses and encourage new ventures. We recently made significant improvements to our business licensing portal, and we're now part of a regional consortium that allows businesses to obtain licenses from multiple cities all in one place. It's a new system. We implement it. We're working through it. It's going to be a fabulous thing for our businesses going forward. As a small business owner myself, I know that supporting our entrepreneurs, small businesses, and micro enterprises ensure that we can adapt and thrive and continue success here in the city of Kent. They're the backbone of our economy. Our small businesses give our city its uniqueness, and it's another example of what we mean when we say we are Kent. As we look to the future, we want to continue promoting our startup economy, entrepreneurial spirit, and business-friendly climate. That includes new businesses and commercial buildings, quality residential living spaces, and improved sidewalks and pedestrian crossings in the downtown. If you haven't been downtown lately, there's a couple of cranes there. I know that's commonplace for some cities, but it's a pretty cool thing to see in downtown Kent. It means we've got great things coming. Coming out of the pandemic, Kent Station recently achieved its highest retail occupancy in 17 years. Right? It's a good thing. It means there's people and activities going on in the downtown. I'm excited to announce we've got a couple of new businesses coming to Kent Station, including Daiso. I don't know if you know what that is, but I'm looking at Eileen. She's shaking her head, right? I love Daiso. I'm super excited for it to be at Kent Station. Just Poke, another great restaurant, Honest Nails, and Indigo Urgent Care. We also have great new businesses coming to our historic downtown. Game Castle. It's going to be a game store where people can gather and hang out and play games and just spend time with each other and have fun. We're so excited about that coming to our historic downtown. The new Ethos Apartments, you've seen pictures of that in the videos off Meeker, just recently added 2 new eateries. We've got Family Sip and Tea Shop and Musashi Sushi. So encourage all of you, check it out. Good things happening in our downtown. As a testament to our multicultural population, Kent offers some of the most unique international foods in the region, and we are host to a variety of cuisines from around the world. That's something I hear from people all the time. Well, what's good in Kent? I'm like, you can find food from everywhere here in the city of Kent. We want to keep elevating our downtown as a place where people want to go, spend time with friends and family, find a place to go eat, hang out, relax, and just enjoy each other. We want to create places that attract people, and our economic and community development staff are constantly in talks with potential new businesses. The redevelopment of the Kmart property, everybody know where that is down there on Washington? That old building came down last week, and in its place is going to be a brand new Kaiser Permanente clinic. We're so excited for the redevelopment of that property. It's going to bring family wage jobs and improve the look and feel of that neighborhood. It's a win for the whole entire city. It's also going to complement all that work we've been doing along Meeker. So that Meet Me on Meeker project where you see the wider sidewalks and the benches and the trees and all of those things, we talked a little bit about people scale. That's what that means. How do people interact with their environment? And I think that's really important down there on Meeker. All of these ongoing initiatives are about elevating the standard of urban design and in our commercial and industrial spaces. In fact, the City of Kent was awarded the Governor's Smart Vision Award from the Department of Commerce in 2021 for our Rally the Valley initiative. Rally the Valley looks at how we can expand land uses and maintain our industrial capacity while emphasizing human scale development. How do people respond? We don't want giant concrete buildings with no windows and no idea. Have you ever driven through the valley and God, I wonder what's in that building? I want to make sure that you know and that people can interact with it and have access to all of a variety of things going on. And so that's what Rally the Valley is about. I want to make sure that people have access to things like restaurants and dry cleaners and a place to go hang out after work and have a beer right there close to where they're working. We think that's really important. The Kent Valley is home to about 250,000 jobs. That's 250,000 people that need access to services, with the recent increases coming largely from growth in our manufacturing and warehousing sectors. Since 2018, office vacancy rates have declined dramatically from a near high of 15% down to 2.5%, indicating a strong demand for office space in the Kent Industrial Valley, and we know that will result in continued investment and redevelopment. Many of these larger office buildings and corporate campuses that were vacant have been acquired, renovated, and redeveloped and leased to employers. More jobs, more input into the economy. We need to keep that momentum going. Even as we've added 6 million square feet of industrial property, vacancy rates for our industrial spaces have remained at industry lows. So we've increased the supply and it continues to be filled. That tells us that demand for industrial space in Kent is as strong as ever. In fact, Kent accounts for about 90% of new construction activity for business real estate in the region, and we're projecting continued demand for those developments. So if you drive through the valley, all kinds of new projects going on. We're really proud of that work. Since the mid-1900s, the Kent Valley has been home to iconic aerospace manufacturing and industrial technology companies. A recent report from Puget Sound Regional Council announced our region's space industry is surging, and Kent's leading the way with over half of the Washington state space jobs right here in the city of Kent. Yeah, I think that's definitely worth some applause. From the first lunar rover, which we've seen pictures of, developed at Boeing Space Center, to the creation of next-generation rockets at Blue Origin, brilliant scientists and engineers continue to develop some of the world's most advanced technologies right here in the city of Kent. And with new space companies like Starfish Space and Stoke Space Technologies investing in their Kent locations, this industry will ensure Kent is at the forefront of pioneering new frontiers. With Kent's commercial and industrial areas booming, we are also making sure that our residential areas are keeping up with the demand for growth, right? Jobs need people to fill them. We want Kent to have inviting neighborhoods and places to live, and we're committed to ensuring we have housing options that work for everyone at all income levels. Securing access to home ownership while maintaining affordable rental opportunities is very important. In 2021, the City Council adopted the Kent Housing Option Plan, or KHOP. It's kind of a fun thing to say, which lays out the city's strategies for meeting growing demand for housing choices. With Kent having the largest supply of naturally occurring affordable housing units in the region, we know that we have a lot of low-income families that are calling Kent home. In fact, 3 of King County Housing Authority's largest project-based complexes are located here in Kent. We want to make sure that those families don't fall through the cracks when times are tough. We want home ownership to be more within reach, and we want rents to be more predictable. Facilitating the stability in lives of Kent families is just the right thing to do. We're also ensuring that we have those higher-end housing options, including those with accessible retail for whoever wants them. Last October, our economic development and IT staff officially activated our new Amanda permitting system, and we can now accept and issue new home permits through that online portal. This is a major milestone that our staff has been working on for many years. It allows people to pull permits without having to make a trip to City Hall. Yeah. It means that things keep moving, right, in development. And while the city isn't a housing provider, our impact comes from land use policy to secure variety, efficiency, and affordability. Primarily, our focus is on preserving and improving what we have. Where we talked about, we've got a lot of that naturally occurring affordable housing in Kent. It's important that we protect that housing and we keep that in the market. We want to ensure that we're also filling gaps in size, density, and price range. So families are changing. Bigger families, smaller families, want to make sure that there's a place for everyone. We want to minimize displacement as Kent grows, particularly for our mobile home parks, low-income, and multi-generational households. From incentivizing scalable multifamily middle housing units to looking at code amendments and development regulations, we're encouraging a variety of housing types. As our city continues to grow rapidly and we improve our housing options, we have also been making, it's a lot of words in one sentence, making substantial investments to keep our transportation infrastructure. It's paramount that we grow sustainably and that our community thrives. Here is a video from our interim transportation planner to talk a little bit about transportation in Kent.
Group focuses on the residents, moving people from their homes to their locations of choice, activity centers to work. So we work with projects that are needed, whether it be from sidewalk improvements to connecting resources, working with our partners at Metro. We have youth, we have families, we have workers working here, residents who are living and working in Kent, and people with different abilities. So being mindful of what their needs are and how they move around. Most of our transportation improvement projects comes from Transportation Master Plan, the projects that were identified in the long-range planning, and those projects are funded through grants. So we work very diligently and strategically to apply for those grants. The city is working towards building a connected network. My role is to connect those needs as we hear from the residents, offering them options that's available. The transportation team that we have and in Public Works, we have very passionate people working for our residents. We live here, we use the services, we recognize the opportunities that we have, and we try to put our best foot forward in projects and making sure that we're doing the best for our city.
All right, Shivani said it well. We've got so many people, so many people that are trying to do the best thing for our residents. We want Kent to be a connected place where it's easy and convenient to get around. Over the last decade, the City of Kent has significantly improved connectivity in all areas of our community, and that work isn't letting up. The city's new transportation plan, adopted by the City Council last March, maps out our vision to better serve the needs of our community and sets goals that will guide us as we invest in transportation over the next 20 years. We're focused on developing connected transportation options for everyone, so that means drivers, transit riders, pedestrians, as well as bicyclists. We have a lot of great transit options here in Kent. As it stands, you can ride the Sounder train, the commuter heavy rail that's down in the valley, take a bus, ride share with van pools, or even ride on demand with the new Ride Pingo for Transit program from King County Metro, giving our residents the flexibility that they need. We work closely with transit agencies like Sound Transit and Metro, and will continue to fight for additional public transit investments in Kent. Sometimes down in the South End, we aren't always top of mind, but we are going to continue making sure that that is the place we land for those agencies. That's how we got projects like the light rail that's coming to West Hill. I don't know if any of you have been up there lately, but the Kent Des Moines Light Rail Station and Star Lake Station are slated to be completed and operational late in 2024. Watching the progress being made on the West Hill with the girders going up and the train stations coming up, the stations coming up out of the ground and the parking garages, this is a realization of groundwork that we laid many years ago. Our Midway sub-area plan helped us prepare the area for high-capacity rail as well as significant redevelopment. I can tell you, I remember being on the Land Use and Planning Board, what feels like forever ago, and we started the work on that initiative, and now we're seeing that progress and having the opportunity to tour it now as mayor has been it's been a pretty cool thing, I'm not gonna lie. Getting to climb up on that parking garage and look around. Way back when we started that initiative, we talked about, 2024, and it seemed like it was a lifetime and we'd never make it. And now we're here, and in just a couple of years, we're gonna be riding light rail to the airport or the U District, and it's gonna be very exciting. These major improvements will help our West Hill reach its full potential, and I'm very excited about that. Whether you work locally or commute, we're also focused on improving traffic flow and reducing delays for drivers through projects like the East-West Connection, 224th, 228th corridor. That corridor will eventually connect, so it starts up there at Military, comes down Veterans Drive through the valley, and will connect all the way to the Benson on the East Hill. Leveraging state funding for these kind of projects is what helps us get these things done. The new 224th, 228th Street grade separations and the 4th and Willis roundabout are great examples. We were able to secure over $40 million in state and federal grants, bringing your tax dollars back to Kent. All right, and I've got some late breaking news. Transportation package passed. Yay, it's a good thing. That means that legislature worked and we got $10 million coming from Meet Me on Meeker and $20.6 million to finish that corridor and connect it up to Benson. That's really significant. I want to make sure to say thank you to our legislators that are working so hard for the city of Kent. We could not do this without them, and we'll see all of the fruits of those labors coming up and around in Kent in the coming years. In 2021, the City of Kent was also awarded grant funding for 6 additional improvement projects totaling over $8 million. Our investment in transportation infrastructure will better connect places that we live and work and shop and all the fun things that there are to do in our community. Whether it's big new projects, routine improvements, or everyday maintenance, there is an enormous amount of work happening in Kent on a daily basis. And I am so grateful that we have the best of the best working here in the city. Our essential employees dedicate themselves to bringing the city to life and improving our standard of living each and every day. A great example of that, or maybe not a great example of that, is flooding, right? It happens in Kent. It's what happens in the valley. There you go. I know that flooding is often a topic of concern for many of our residents, particularly at problem areas like James Street. They're at what is now Mill Creek Middle School or Kent Junior High. Some of you will get that reference as well. Most of our valley is built on a floodplain and it's prone to flooding. That's just what happens. It's hard to drain. We have to deal with flood potential from both the Green River and Mill Creek. Something we've been actively working on and will continue to address through a series of interconnected projects, all aimed at improving our stormwater system. We continue to work with the King County Flood Control District to make significant improvements in our levee system there along the Green River. Our current projects include improvements at Lower Russell Road, think Van Doren's Landing Park, Milwaukee 2, and Signature Point levees. Building resiliency into the levee system protects us from Green River flooding while improving our habitat and green spaces, so we get multiple benefits. Flood protection, great new park areas, places for people to access the river, all of those things happening at the same time. We do that really, really well here in Kent. A great example of this is how we're integrating recreation areas and parks, including the scenic overlook on the Green River, into the $56 million investment that's being built at the Signature Point levees. We couldn't do this work without the King County Flood Control District, and we're extremely grateful for that partnership. The investments on the green are paying off. You think way back when we had the sandbags, when everything was going on with Howard Hansen Dam, and now you can walk along that trail. There's no sandbags, and in our last big storm events, we haven't had flooding along the green. City has also completed major drainage projects over the last several years on Mill Creek. That's the one I hear about from residents most often, for sure. We've made substantial progress by adding pump stations, raising 76th Avenue, cleaning out culverts, and making improvements to the Upper Mill Creek Dam. It's all a puzzle, then the pieces have to be all there before you can realize what the picture is. In the end, that means less flooding. We've increased storage volume by 50% and reduced the amount and duration of road closures all the way from Earthworks Park to Central Avenue and Titus to James Street. We're currently waiting on federal permitting, that's the last piece of that puzzle, to move forward with the reestablishment of Mill Creek. This is one of our major projects that will tie everything together with those investments, and we'll see all of that work be putting into place and hopefully significantly reduce the flooding on both James Street and 76th. In addition to all the new big projects, we have preventative maintenance that's going on year-round. There's about 8 million gallons of clean water that are being used in our city every single day. So I've got a couple of fun facts. Last year, we performed 11,000 routine water quality tests to ensure that your drinking water meets state and federal standards. We get most of our water from natural springs, Clark Springs, Kent Springs, and that's what makes our tap water so amazing and probably the best around. It also makes it great for businesses. If you saw that ice sculpture out there, great Kent business, Creative Ice, made that, and when we were down talking to them last year, they told us about how our water is so great for the work that they do. So very, very proud of that. Last year, our public works staff also inspected and maintained about 80,000 linear feet of sewer and drainage pipeline. All in all, we have 347 miles of storm pipe and 211 miles of sewer lines in the city of Kent to maintain. When we do get heavy rain or snow or ice, the staff are always on top of it at any hour, making sure systems are working properly and we're closing roads and we're putting out the road closure notices. That's all done by people in the middle of the night wanting to make sure that when you wake up in the morning, you know which roads to travel on, and we're so grateful for that team. Want to make sure we keep everybody safe. During our most recent snowstorm, our public works crews plowed 11,000 miles of roads, laid down 1,000 tons of sand and salt mix, and applied over 11,500 gallons of liquid de-icer in a 34 square mile area. That is a lot of trips, but our roads were better maintained than most anywhere. We heard that over and over again. Super grateful for those crews. We have over 230 miles of sidewalk, and I know we're not all completely interconnected, but it's something that we're working on. We've got 19,000 street signs, 6,600 streetlights, and 716 lane miles of road in the city of Kent. In 2021 alone, the public works staff installed and replaced 750 street signs around the city. In 2022, we're investing $5 million in street pavement preservation and repair projects to keep our roads in good repair. I am so proud of the work that our streets crews do. Nearly 100% of reported potholes are filled. You guys see, I haven't seen the video, so I don't know what, oh, okay. This guy, I love this guy. This is my favorite Christmas movie, and so this is a lot of fun. Snow like that is what brings potholes, and I will tell you, nearly 100% of our potholes are filled within 24 hours. So if you see a pothole, report it on the Kent Works app or give our Public Works office a call, and we'll get that filled. It could go on, and I know that it's a lot. It's all built and maintained by our staff, contractors, partners, and they're dedicated to keeping our community running full steam ahead. On our end, the hope is as you're going about your day that you don't really think much about any of this and what goes into maintaining the city. You just know that it will get done, and our crews are making sure of that every day. Oh, okay. I gotta stop looking, right? You guys just tell me if there's something important and I should turn around. As we continue developing and improving our infrastructure, we know that it's important to integrate climate sustainability practices, habitat preservation, and conservation in everything that we do. We have a new interdepartmental work group on climate, then they're currently developing the beginnings of what will be a comprehensive plan to keep climate sustainability at the forefront as we go about our work of maintenance and restoration here in the city. The council recently heard a presentation highlighting all the important work we're doing around climate and the concerns that are going on. We're doing a lot of work, we just haven't been really good about telling that story. Great example of habitat restoration work is the $9 million investment in the Downey Farmstead Side Channel Restoration Project. It's aimed at creating a rearing and refuge habitat for salmon while providing additional flood storage. This project has been underway for 15 years, and I am so excited to say that we've put out for bid the final phase of this project. It's fantastic. If you drive along down there on the river, you can see where we've moved the road and created a new rest stop area for salmon. It's a pretty incredible thing. Tell you, I cannot wait to show this project. We've got some KM juniors and seniors who will be touring the site with staff next month, and we'll get to show them in real life what jobs and opportunities come with careers that are related to climate, habitat restoration, and sustainability. Protecting our environment is so important to us, and keeping Kent's natural areas and green spaces clean depends on all of us. We live in a beautiful city, and we want to ensure we have quality green spaces and amenities for Kent families to enjoy no matter where they're at. Here's a video from our Deputy Parks Director.
Kent Park's all about trying to get people involved, get our youth active and outdoors and all those things that I enjoyed growing up, and so it's a great place to work and contribute to the community. The best part of this job is when you actually get to go out and see people using our parks. You really just see all segments of our population outside, active, happy, smiling, getting to know other people. And people want quality recreational opportunities in parks near where they live. They want lots of access to trails and nature, playgrounds. Parks Department offers a wide range of programming and recreational facilities for people to use. Everything from youth sports to summer playground series and summer camps, to our senior center, to our teen center. We have a Kent Commons facility that offers a ton of different types of programming. We have after-school programs for people, and it's really important that we try to be as inclusive as possible. We never want cost to be a barrier for participation. It's really important to us, making sure that all of our parks are inclusive and that everyone can find something to do.
So many good things going on in our parks. We have a nationally recognized award-winning park system here in Kent with a wide variety of community and neighborhood parks, play fields, trails, and all kinds of options for having fun, exercising, walking, biking, and relaxing. It is important to us to provide safe and inviting facilities, as well as meaningful, inclusive, and diverse recreational programs and cultural activities. Our staff truly care about the level of service that they provide to you through these programs and events, and are determined to ensure that residents get the most from their experiences. They dedicate their talents to enriching the lives of Kent families. I think that's a pretty important calling. As a kid, I played soccer with Kent Parks. My kids played soccer with Kent Parks, and now there's a whole nother generation, and we've only expanded programs in recent years. You can see in our Parks and Rec Guide that we offer tons of youth and adult sports, leagues, programs for every season, from soccer to flag football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, and even track. That Kent Parks Rec Guide should be showing up in your mailboxes as we speak. I know that mine came yesterday. You can also break a sweat at Kent Commons with a variety of fitness classes like Zumba and yoga, and you can play badminton and pickleball. Here's another little known fact. The Kent-based company Pickleball Central is the largest reseller of pickleball equipment anywhere. And I heard on the news the other day that there is a bill sitting on the governor's desk to make pickleball the official sport of Washington State. So that has to make Kent the capital of pickleball in Washington. Our Parks Department offers practical and fun education opportunities as well through things like art classes, music, cooking classes. Our Senior Activity Center offers a wide variety of programs, clubs, and activities for adults 50 and older. Let's stop there. So when we were talking through this, that's me. I don't know that I would consider myself a senior, but I'm going to start checking out what kind of great programs we have going on at the Senior Center. With the completion of our Kent Senior and Older Adults Needs Assessment last year, we're making great progress toward expanding those programs and opportunities for our seniors. We've got some new innovation coming to the Parks Department. I'm excited to tell you that we launched our online registration program so you can sign up for classes right on our website. We've also made significant improvements to parks and facilities around the city. It has been so awesome to see kids and families at the newly renovated West Fenwick Park. It features life-size, like chutes and ladders games. So you think about the game, and that's real and can be climbed on right up there at West Fenwick Park. The renovations also included a futsal court, and we were able to dedicate that futsal court to Officer Diego Moreno, and we call it Diego's Field. Definitely take the kids, the family, or adults. I don't think there's any rule about that, those chutes and ladders up there, and hang out and have a good time and play. We've also renovated Kiwanis Tot Lot 3, completed Wilson Playfield picnic shelters, made improvements to our senior center, and remodeled the driving range at Riverbend. 67,000 rounds of golf were played at Riverbend in 2021. Riverbend is one of the most visited municipal golf courses in the entire state. We know that it's popular, and we are going to continue making investments in that golf course for our golfers that are playing now and hopefully our future golfers as well. Coming up, looking into the future, we've got renovations coming to Kersone Park, which is in our downtown, Springwood Park, which is on the south end of East Hill, Chestnut Ridge Park, which is on the north end of East Hill, and Salt Air Vista over on our West Hill. So stay tuned, we'll be sharing those improvements as we work through them. We are also improving landscaping. So if you think about the Willis Street greenways, we had to stop construction down there near the roundabout because of all of that rain that we got, but it's back underway and it's going to be absolutely spectacular. One of the things that we've heard from our community as we've asked for feedback is the desire for enhanced recreation spaces indoors. That's one of the things that Kent's lacking. We've got the great YMCA facility, Kent Commons, but there's always a need for indoor recreation spaces. We're going to be integrating that feedback and more into our broader and ongoing Parks and Open Space Plan, which is an initiative to look at our park system in a comprehensive way and make improvements based on what our residents really want to see. A great way to stay engaged with the community and get that feedback is through the various events that are hosted throughout the year, and our Parks Department is front and center for those. Just know our Parks Department is open for business. They've been open for business all the way through the pandemic, pivoting and changing, but making sure they're offering services. And we've got some great, fun in-person events coming back. I'm super excited. Splash is coming back this year. Yeah, up at Lake Meridian Park. We're really looking forward to that. Keep an eye out for registration for the Kent Cornucopia Days 5K. That's coming up this summer. And our summer concert series was a huge hit last year. It was a way for people to get outside, enjoy some music, and just sort of leave their living rooms. We're really excited about that. It's coming back, and our Spotlight series has been going on for the last couple of months. We've got a great concert coming up here at KM, Alpen Hong. He's a world-renowned piano player, and if you have not seen that show, I highly recommend it. We also have conservation events that are coming up. We've got Earth Day and Arbor Day events in April. Keep an eye on our website for that. There's a lot happening in our Parks Department, and we're working on improving spaces in Kent that people can really enjoy and make investments of their time. We are also investing in people, right? That is the key to all of this work that we're doing. So here's a short video from our Human Services Coordinator to talk a bit about some of the investments we're making.
So our Human Services group, we partner with a lot of our community members, social service providers, and other groups in our community working together to address the needs of our residents, doing direct outreach, meeting with them, trying to get a better understanding of the work that they're doing in our community and how we can help them with the needs that aren't being met. We use about half of our funding goes to funding homeless services, prevention, direct services affecting our residents experiencing homelessness. I oversee a lot of those contracts in particular, and I also work directly with our service providers who are going out into the camps, meeting with our homeless residents living in vehicles and whatever situation they might be in to better understand those needs and also act a little bit as a liaison between them and other departments that contact those residents. So we partner really well with our Parks Department, Public Works, the Police Department, who all are working to build relationships with those residents, trying to build trust with them so that we can encourage them to access services that are available to them through those providers. Our community that has the power to make change, and I think that if we recognize our strengths and work together and realize that we are all in this together, that we can make a difference.
Our community has the power to make change. That is a really strong statement, and it's really true. The City of Kent is completely committed to continual investment in the delivery of quality human service programs that help people find stability, dignity, and happiness in their lives. Our human services team works closely with Kent's vulnerable residents, treating people with compassion, building relationships, and helping them access important supports and resources. Our staff works directly with providers, outreach workers, and caseworkers. We contribute stable financial support to the incredible community-based organizations that are providing direct assistance to our residents. These are things like transitional housing, culturally relevant resources, and access to preventative services like medical care, employment, and rental assistance, as well as mental and behavioral health and substance abuse treatment and counseling. In our 21-22 biennial budget, we allocated $4.5 million in federal funding to human services and equity programs. We're emphasizing investment into areas not covered by other federal programs, as well as activating the city's emerging equity and strategic plan. Our Human Services Division strategically aligns our investments across programs and funds to maximize community impact and fill gaps in service. There's a new $1.7 million resiliency fund to address emergent needs in our community and support local community-based organizations by helping them build capacity and flexibility. This is not work that we can do by ourselves. It takes the partners and it takes those organizations doing the work on the ground. In 2021, we distributed a record amount of community development block grant funding as direct support for local nonprofits that provide food, rental assistance, utility assistance, shelter, housing, education, and legal assistance. This is really hard work and it takes time. But we want you to know that it's a priority for us and we're committed to supporting all of our residents. As we go about this work, we're leading with empathy and compassion while balancing that with the need to keep our community safe and attractive. We're making investments to clean up and maintain our public spaces by expanding our litter picking and graffiti removal and ensuring robust code enforcement throughout the city. These investments include immediate and long-term solutions that address garbage, dumping, and pollution around Kent. We're making real progress toward cleaning up our green spaces and improving the quality of recreation opportunities. In the last budget cycle, the council allocated funding for 2 new positions on our litter crew, and we recently partnered with King County's new Jobs and Housing program to secure additional personnel for cleaning up parks and removing graffiti around our city. One of our big initiatives that we've been having that's been going on for a couple of years is the Mill Creek Canyon Revitalization Project. It's a historic $1.5 million investment to restore the existing trail system in Mill Creek by cleaning out trash, repairing footbridges, drainage structures, trailheads, signs, and walls. And as a part of our ongoing litter reduction campaign, we've also expanded our volunteer-led litter and pollution removal programs like Adopt a Street and Adopt a Spot. Do we have any volunteers in the audience? I believe we have to. I'm seeing some hands raised. You guys, this is an absolute team effort. It takes all of us. We had over 1,000 volunteers in 2021 dedicating their time to helping keep our city clean with over 998 bags of trash collected. We were able to celebrate all these amazing volunteers at a recent Kent City Council meeting. This is people out taking care of their city, and we're so proud of that. I'm really excited by the fact that so many people continue to get involved with these programs, and it really shows that our community cares and wants to keep our city clean. We all want to be proud of where we live. We're also hosting more residential recycling, collection events, mini recycling events, community cleanups. We've got great partners like the Kent Downtown Partnership that sponsor weekend cleanup events. Again, we can't do this on our own. In the recycling events, we recycled over 550,000 pounds of recycling. About 4,100 cars came through and took advantage of those opportunities. And remember, they're always listed on the website so you can see when they're coming up. Last year, our solid waste division removed 165 tons of garbage from the right-of-way, and we're making real progress in cleaning Kent up. Removing trash and dumping prevents pollution from entering our drainage system and waterways and helps attract and retain businesses and improve the appearance of our community. It also helps build public safety. I'm going to turn around and we're going to kick off our public safety video.
We are a city that welcomes everyone. There is one exception to that, and that is if you are a violent criminal in our community, the Kent Police Department is coming to deal with you. For those of you out there that want to work in a high-paced, action-packed place, Kent's your place.
A good enough size agency with different opportunities, but also small enough that I knew my coworkers and I knew the people I was working with.
My first encounter was very welcoming. I just had the sense like this is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah, it's awesome to drive cars real fast and shoot guns. Ultimately, we got into this job for what? To help people. Our department just hasn't forgotten that.
For an agency our size to have its own training facility, I was shocked. I'd been a cop for almost 5 years, done firearms, and I thought I was pretty good. I found out the standards here at Kent are exceptionally high, but the investment in getting our people to be able to meet those standards is also exceptionally high.
The training here is one of the best in our region.
You have the state standard, and then we have Kent Police Standard, which is tougher than the state's. Our officers are constantly encouraged to look for that training that interests you, put in for it. And our sergeants, our first line supervisors, are excellent at encouraging people to go.
What I appreciate about the training division and our department is we're willing to think outside the box. Not everyone learns the same way.
Any training I've ever put in for, I've gotten. That's not generally the case in some arenas. We do good work because we are trained and we are properly trained.
As long as someone has a good attitude and is willing to put in the work, a lot of the other things can happen with time.
Love our police department. They do such an amazing job keeping our community safe. Everyone deserves to feel safe in the city that they live in. And I want to say this, and I'm going to say it a couple of times during this little segment. I am committed to prioritizing public safety and reducing crime while also building trust and ensuring that we serve our community with compassion. We've made investments to establish a mental health professional co-responder program in our police department so that we can better assist those experiencing crisis. We're also continually reviewing and improving our de-escalation training and non-lethal tools and methods. We're focused on balancing compassion with accountability. Those two things have to go together, and prioritizing trust in law enforcement by building real relationships with our residents. A great example of this is our recently launched Community Immersion program. And this pairs brand new Kent officers before they go to the academy with community-based organizations, and they're volunteering in those organizations and getting to know their community, getting to know the community they serve before they go off to the academy, before they ever get in that police car. By increasing cultural awareness that affirms a sense of understanding between law enforcement and residents, we can make our community safer. Our Police, Race, and Equity Board, composed of community members from various cultural backgrounds, regularly meets with the chief to help him work through issues that are of community concern. It's a two-way education process. He gets to share with them things that are happening, and they share with him concerns that they're hearing in their community. Our officers consistently strive to be part of the fabric of our community. They're a part of who we are. Another reason when we say we are Kent, we mean it in every single department and division. When you're in our city, our officers are here to serve and protect you and your family. A big part of our long-term vision to improve safety and trust in Kent between public and police is engaging our youth. Our Kent Police Youth Board includes a diverse group of students, grades 7 through 12, and it emphasizes things like drug and alcohol prevention, health and wellness, and most importantly, leadership skills. Our students are learning how to be leaders in their community. Through community involvement and education programs, we're working with regional organizations addressing the root causes that lead our kids to substance abuse, crime, and violence. We know that prevention is the key. We'll continue to work with community support networks to keep our youth on a path towards a happy, healthy, and safe adulthood. I think that is something we can all get behind. That is what we want for every single one of our kids. Part of that is connecting them with the resources they need. As we make investments to care for our vulnerable members of our community and improve our law enforcement practices, I want to be clear that we remain committed to holding those that seek to harm our community accountable. Right? That has to be something that we are doing every single day. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say this, we're continuing to see a rise in crime across the region and in our city. My commitment and the commitment of our police department is continuing to do all we can to keep you safe. We've been working with our state legislators for the past year to address and bring about some clarity in the changes in the law. We heard a lot about police reform last session, some of the things it did to tie law enforcement's hands. Been working with my fellow mayors and our legislators. The chief has been in lots of meetings, and we really do think we've made some progress this session. We've met with numerous stakeholders and groups and like I said, legislators, and we're working to address violent crime, homelessness, and mental health issues. We want to make sure that we're supporting laws that ensure both equitable and transparent police services while giving our officers the tools they need to be effective. I've said this over and over again, it's an and, not an or conversation. We can have equitable policing and we can have a safe community, and our officers are key, and the ability for them to do that job is key to that. Yeah, it's been challenging, and I think there were unintended consequences of the legislation. I have said, and the chief has said, and you've heard us, that the intent was right. We just need to refine it so that the laws continue to work for everyone. A few examples include of things that we were successful with this legislative session, or restoring the ability or authority to detain someone in order to conduct a lawful investigation based on reasonable suspicion. So if that officer has reason to believe that a crime was committed, they can detain someone. That changed in police reform last year, and it's made the job nearly impossible. So we feel like we've made progress there. It's also the authority to detain and use force to intervene and assist with someone that we need to get into mental health treatment that's in crisis. Helping them so we can helping us help them. Another example is the ability to use less lethal tools to de-escalate potentially deadly situations. That feels like it should be a given. That's where we want our officers to be able to start. And to pursue those fleeing in vehicles for certain violent crimes and sex offenses based on reasonable suspicion. So I want to say thank you to my fellow mayors. I'm looking at some of them here in the front row, council members and our legislators for listening to us and working with us through this last legislative session to really help make our communities safer. Yeah. There's no easy solution, no one size fits all, but I am hopeful that we'll find the balance we seek. Staffing. This is one of the questions I get all the time. Like most departments in the state, we are experiencing a police officer staffing shortage. It's a major area of concern and focus, and it is one of our top priorities. We've taken several steps in Kent to put us in the best position to overcome this current situation and stabilize staffing. Again, I'm going to say it, I want to be clear, I support our police officers, and I support our community, and we can have both things. Our biennial budget took no resources away from public safety, and we negotiated a contract that makes our officers some of the highest paid in the state. Retaining and recruiting officers is incredibly difficult, and virtually all law enforcement departments in this state are facing the same problem, so we are all looking for the same talent pool. Offering an exceptional salary and benefit package ensures that Kent remains competitive in retaining and recruiting the best and the brightest. We've also launched our recruiting video. You just saw a portion of that in there. And it's the reason why we want officers to come to Kent. We've authorized hiring incentive for in-state laterals. That means those officers can be on the street much faster than, say, a new recruit that has to go through the academy and all of those kinds of things. Despite having 20 unfilled positions still, our efforts are paying off and we're making progress. We've had 17 new hires since November of last year. Once those officers get out on their own, that means shorter response times for all of you. Our renewed effort towards inclusion, equity, and community engagement, we are seeing a steady diversity increase in the application pool, with 30% of our 2021 hires and 50% of our 2022 hires being from underrepresented groups. We're making progress and making sure that our police department looks like the community that they serve. We're closing the gap, and I'm hoping that by the time I come and stand up here next year, that we are going to be that much closer to being fully staffed. I believe that supporting our police department and equipping them with funding and resources that they need, we can better protect our residents and build community trust. Part of ensuring our residents feel safe is taking a deep and honest look at practices and procedures to ensure that we're serving our community equitably. In 2021, the city worked with a nationally recognized data analysis firm that specializes in policing to determine if there is racial bias in crime reporting, use of force, and arrests here in Kent. I am extremely proud to say the consultants found that there wasn't evidence of racial bias in our policing based on the data that was available to them. It's a big deal. We're not going to stop there. So moving forward, we're finding ways and making investments to collect additional data so that we can continue to ensure we are serving all of our residents equitably. This includes the addition of a new business systems analyst as well as better data analysis tools. Another new resource that we've implemented is Spider Tech. It's a text messaging system that will tell you what's going on with the call. If you call into 911, it's a text back system that provides better engagement between residents and our officers. I understand firsthand the impacts of increased crime that we're seeing across the region and in our city. I don't know that there's probably any one of us in here that have not been the victim of a crime or have a family member. I had my son call me up, say, "Mom, my truck was stolen." That's hard, you guys. I'm his mom, I'm his mayor. I want to stop that. I want to prevent that from happening. I want you all to know that we're committed to doing everything we can to keep our community safe. I understand the frustration, but I'm not giving up. The chief is not giving up. Our council's not giving up. We will continue to look for ways to hold people accountable and serve our residents with compassion. And just as we're building trust and improving our data collection and listening strategies within our police department, we're also committed to doing the same thing, implementing those same principles in our equity and strategic plan. We're already underway, and we've been gathering feedback from the community. Here's a short video featuring our race and equity manager.
The focus of 2021 was mostly on community engagement and looking at best practices that include the community in the conversation when it comes to a strategic plan for the city. We asked community, what are the values that you really hold tight to, and what are the values that you want to see in this strategic plan? And we conducted the same type of exercise with our internal core team, and what we found is that our values are aligned. So the community's ready, and we're ready to get in there and have those conversations and work with community members and add those values to the process, as well as the strategic plan and the actions that we're going to be taking when it comes to the way we communicate with folks, our representation here in the city, when it comes to the in-language services that we can provide our residents, as well as the engagement in general. Community engagement is really important for the community. They want to see our faces. They want to see us in the community. They want to see that we're there to just exchange information, have conversations, learn about each other, and essentially just create policy that is both good for the city and good for the residents. One thing that I want the community to know is that we're listening. This process, as well as the action items and the root causes, have to be addressed by those who are experiencing those issues. That's why it's really important for us to include the community in this process and the design of the action items that will be addressing those gaps. So just know that we here in the city are listening to you, and we're incorporating what you're saying into this strategic plan.
Here in Kent, our diversity truly is our strength, and figuring out how to capture that and empower that is one of our main goals. The city's taken a multitude of steps over the years to enhance collaboration with the people of the city of Kent, people of all races and ethnicities, to ensure equitable service delivery. Our equity strategic plan is our latest step following years of enhancements to internal training and community engagement that will help us achieve the outcomes that we seek. The strategic plan is being co-designed with community stakeholders and internal working groups, so we're working together through the plan. This isn't a plan that our equity manager just is sitting down and writing on his own. This is truly community-led and community-based. We're including diverse perspectives as this plan is developed. Our goal is to eliminate racial inequities and improve outcomes for all groups in the city, from our hiring practices to service delivery, from our procurement processes and our communication. We've already begun to move forward with bolstering in-language resources and translation practices throughout our departments. And as we continue with this work of listening, our outreach has been focused on local community-based organizations led by Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We're taking important steps to ensure that Kent is a welcoming and inclusive city that serves all of its residents equitably and with the respect that they deserve. As our equity strategic plan continues to be developed and implemented, it will help inform how we deliver services, programs, how we allocate resources, and how we can be as transparent as possible. Communication is key to that transparency and engagement. By providing regular updates and direct access for questions, concerns, and feedback, we're keeping our community informed about what the city's working on. And in January, we launched our new website with a bunch of new features and resources, including easier navigation. This overhaul and new features are already empowering our residents with easier access to information that they need about our programs, departments, services, events, and initiatives. During the pandemic, we improved the way we communicate and provide public service to our community. We'll maintain and expand all of the frequent schedules of video updates and those kind of things, social media posts, alerts, and newsletters, but we also get to be back together in the same space. Cannot tell you, I am so waiting to see all of your whole entire faces in a couple of days. I think that'll be pretty amazing, getting to see people. Please forgive me if I'm like, have I met you before? Because I've only seen your eyes for a really long time. But we're excited to be back together. I want to make sure that our residents know that we're listening and that we care about what you have to say, and that is so important to the work we do. I want our residents to know that we welcome all opportunities to get feedback and an understanding about our service delivery. We've done a ton of engagement over the years. Just about every city initiative and plan includes a robust engagement process where we ask our residents to give us feedback on priorities through surveys, online questionnaires, and in-person meetings. From our equity strategic plan to our transportation master plan, parks and open space plan, input from our residents is top of mind when we're looking at how we allocate funding. We're committed to funding the programs residents want and budgeting responsibly as we work to ensure an immediate and long-term recovery from the effects of the pandemic. We have a really bright future. We want long-term sustainability, and we do that by ensuring your tax dollars are spent locally and efficiently. We'll continue partnering with regional organizations to secure grant funding for projects that will support Kent residents. You guys, spending someone else's money is the best, right? You have to agree with that. I think if we get grant money, we get to do these great projects. To me, there's nothing better. You can count on us to maintain local control of newly imposed taxes that come from the county or the state. We want those dollars to stay here in Kent so they can benefit our residents. By considering the overall health of our economy, our revenue, expenditures, and investments, we'll continue working towards growing a healthy fund balance that supports our strategic goals. While we made strategic cuts early on in anticipation of the impacts of the pandemic, none of us knew that inflation would be 7+%. It's a big deal. So I'm going to tell you, we've got a gap. We've got a gap in a budget that we thought we had fixed that gap. We'll be carefully looking at our revenues and expenditures and engaging with the community as we figure out how to balance the city's checkbook, how to fill that gap. So our budget roadshows are coming back. Cannot wait to get out and hear from you all on the programs that are the must-haves, the places where we can cut, what you're looking for. This dialogue is key in developing that budget. Now that we're seeing masks and vaccination requirements around the state lift, I'm looking forward to those budget meetings, those town halls, so we can hear directly from Kent residents about their priorities for our city. So we've spent a lot of time highlighting the public-facing departments. None of this work could have been done without our internal departments and employees. I want to touch on all of the work that they've done. Our IT team established a new security operations center, further improving the strength of our systems and data security. It's another really big topic right now. We're hearing it on the news. We're doing everything we can to keep your data here at the City of Kent secure. They've also added some new major system replacements to ensure we're keeping up with industry standards. Our clerk's office handled over 7,000 public records requests and made improvements to better process them and increase transparency. 7,000 requests for records, you guys, that's crazy. But we're getting them out and making sure that the community has the information that they need. Our Human Resources Department took a look at our job descriptions and internal employee practices to ensure that we have equitable processes in place. And they also successfully navigated our workforce through the pandemic. I don't know about you all, but every time we turned on the news, it felt like there was a new rule or a guideline or the deadline was changing, and our HR department guided our employees through all of those changes for the last couple of years. Our municipal court continued to provide excellent service, successfully avoiding a significant backlog of cases in the pandemic. That's not true for all the courts around, but our court has done a magnificent job of keeping things on track. Our law department, both criminal and civil side, continued their important work advocating for us, reviewing contracts and making sure that criminal justice system moved forward. They also reformed the city's board and commission appointment process at the request of the city council. The goal there was to make membership in our boards and commissions reflect the diverse community and perspectives. Our finance team received awards of excellence in financial reporting with city budget presentations reflecting our dedication to financial responsibility and transparency. All of our employees are dedicated to ensuring the programs and services the City of Kent offers reflect the platinum standard for municipal government. I'm going to stop here and say thank you to every single one of our city employees for showing up and working for you all, for all of us every single day. I want to thank all of our directors, most of them are in the room tonight, for leading their work groups and coming together as a team and supporting all of us in the work that is being done. And I want to say a special thank you to Derek Matheson, our Chief Administrative Officer. Every single thing we've talked about, there you go. Every single thing we've talked about tonight has his fingerprints all over it. And we couldn't do the work that we do without Derek. My hope is tonight that you leave with a sense of appreciation for our city's history, a sense of pride for what we've accomplished, and the work we're doing today, and anticipation about what the future holds. I'm going to say thank you all for coming tonight. It's been wonderful to be back together in person, and I hope I see you all at Splash this summer. Have a wonderful evening, and remember, we are Kent.